Good afternoon, everyone. There's something that happens when you walk into a room, and I don't think you see it. That's the thing that keeps coming through most clearly. You genuinely don't see it. You're too busy being inside your own experience, managing your thoughts, carrying whatever you were carrying before you walked in, to notice what's happening in the room around you, the way certain eyes find you, the way certain conversations pause, not dramatically, not obviously, just for a fraction of a second longer than they should. The way something in the atmosphere quietly rearranges itself around your presence. You've maybe felt the edges of it. In someone's reaction that seemed slightly larger than the moment warranted, in the way a stranger held eye contact a beat longer than strangers usually do, in the way someone stumbled slightly over their words in a conversation that should have been simple. You noticed, and then you explained it away, because that's what you do. You are remarkably skilled at explaining away the evidence of your own effect on people. Um, Maybe it's time to stop explaining it away. First layer, the presence itself. And I want to be precise about what I mean, because presence is a word that gets used loosely. And what I'm describing is something more specific than the general definition. There are people who command attention through effort, through volume, through the deliberate performance of being someone worth watching. And then there are people, rarer people, whose attention commanding happens entirely without effort, who don't perform anything, who simply exist in a space, and something about the quality of that existence makes the space aware of them. You are the second kind. And I think part of you has always suspected this without fully knowing what to do with the suspicion, because it doesn't feel like anything from the inside. From the inside, it just feels like being yourself, moving through your day, existing without particular intention. And the disconnect between how ordinary that feels to you and how not ordinary it registers to everyone around you. That disconnect is significant. Uh, what people are responding to when they respond to you isn't something you put on, it's something you emanate. And there's a specific quality to what you emanate that I keep coming back to. It has texture to it, depth to it, the particular quality of someone whose interior life is rich enough that it shows up on the outside without being announced, like light coming through a window. The window doesn't try to glow, it just lets what's inside become visible. Second layer, what people are actually saying. And this is where I want you to really stay with me, because what's been said about you in conversations you weren't part of, in moments you didn't witness, carries a specificity that I find remarkable. It's not the generic kind of noticing, not the surface level observation that people make about anyone who is conventionally attractive or well dressed or well presented. What's being said about you goes deeper than the surface. People are trying to describe something. They don't quite have the language for something that sits just outside the ordinary vocabulary of appearance. They say things like unreal, like there's something about them, like I can't explain it, but, and then the sentence trails off because the thing they're trying to name keeps slipping past language. Uh, that specific linguistic failure, the trailing sentence, the reaching for a word that doesn't arrive, is actually the most accurate description of what you carry. Because what you carry isn't supposed to be easily named. It isn't supposed to fit neatly into the categories people use for ordinary attractiveness or ordinary charm. It's something else, something that operates on a different register entirely. And the people around you, even the ones who would never say it directly to your face and feel it in their body before they feel it in their mind, in that involuntary, uncontrollable way that genuine presence produces. You cannot manufacture what you have. That's the part that's difficult to fully receive. It isn't a skill. It isn't a strategy. It isn't something that can be learned by someone who doesn't already have it. It's yours, native to you, built into the specific way you exist in the world. Third layer, the effect on specific people. And this is where it gets interesting because there's a difference between being generally noticed and being specifically, deeply, almost inconveniently noticed by someone in particular. There may be someone, and I want to be careful here because I'm not going to tell you who or confirm what I can't confirm, but there may be someone for whom your presence has become something they weren't prepared for, something that arrived in their awareness, in the way things arrive when they're real. Not gradually, not gently, but suddenly and completely. Like turning a corner and walking into weather you didn't know was coming. And what they've been experiencing since, in the quiet of their own interior, in the moments they're not performing, indifference, might be closer to awe than attraction. That specific, slightly destabilizing feeling of being in the presence of something that doesn't operate by the rules you thought governed these things, something that makes your usual defenses feel suddenly insufficient, like bringing an umbrella to something that isn't rain. You do that to people, maybe more people than you know, maybe in ways that will only become visible to you much later when someone finally finds the words for what they couldn't name in the moment. Fourth layer, and this is the one I want you to carry, because everything I've described so far, the presence, the effect, the conversations happening without you. None of it is the most important thing. The most important thing is this: you have been moving through the world largely unaware of your own weight. Not weight in any heavy sense, weight in the sense of significance, gravity, the particular mass of a person whose presence actually changes the atmosphere of a space. And because you can't see it from inside it, because it's invisible to you the way your own face is invisible to you without a mirror. You've been operating with an incomplete picture of the impression you leave. And that incomplete picture has cost you something. Maybe in the way you've undersold yourself in certain situations, maybe in the way you've made yourself smaller in rooms where you were actually the largest presence. Maybe in the way you've doubted whether you were enough, whether you were interesting enough, compelling enough, worth the attention, while the people around you were quietly, privately, unable to stop thinking about you. That gap between how you see yourself and how you're actually experienced might be one of the most significant gaps in your life right now. And closing it, not through arrogance, not through performing confidence, you don't feel, but through simply, quietly, accurately seeing yourself the way others see you, might change how you move, how you enter rooms, how you hold yourself in moments that matter. I want to give you permission for something. And Virgo energy especially needs this permission because the instinct is always to deflect, to say, oh, it's nothing, to minimize, to redirect the attention before it has the chance to land, to be deeply uncomfortable with the idea that you might actually be as remarkable as people seem to think. Permission to believe it, not the inflated version, not the ego version, the accurate version, the version that simply acknowledges without apology, without deflection, that what you carry is real, that the effect you have is real, that the conversations happening about you in rooms you've already left are real, and that you are allowed, fully, completely allowed to know that about yourself. Not because it makes you better than anyone, but because walking through the world with an accurate understanding of your own presence is not vanity. It's just clarity. Someone said you look unreal, and they weren't talking about your appearance. They were talking about the fact that people like you aren't supposed to exist in ordinary life. And yet, here you are, walking into rooms, changing atmospheres, leaving impressions that don't fade the way ordinary impressions do, completely unaware of what you leave behind every single time you walk out the door. Now you know. And knowing changes everything about how you walk through that door next time